Hello, boils and ghouls. You are now tuned in to PVD Horror Podcast. Pleasant screams.
Hey, what's up, everybody? You are tuned into PVD Horror. My name is Dave. I'm joined by my co-host, Brandon. And today we are doing a Tony Todd tribute, followed by a review of all the films from the summer till current date that we didn't get to because we are sorry that we slacked on that. But we're going to do it right now, so stay tuned. And yeah, we'll get to it. So, Brandon, what's up, my dude?
Not much, taking it easy.
Taking it easy. You got a new background there. I like that.
Yeah, just working on something different, trying to bring it all together.
Space. Oh yeah. I see that you got that Crystal Lake sign.
Yeah,
Infamous from our event, Friday the 13th event we did.
Yep.
Yeah, it's looking good. Looking good. So as everybody knows, we had some really, really sad news this weekend. We learned that the legendary Tony Todd, aka the Candyman himself, has passed away at the age of 69 after dealing with a rather long illness, which I think maybe some people were kind of aware of, while others maybe didn't know, because I think Tony was like sort of a private guy, which I really do respect.
Yep. And like you said, he was just like an icon, man. You know, starred in so many films. I think when we had him on the podcast, I think you had said something about his films, like his the number of films that he did.
Yeah,
and they were off. He goes, "Oh, I don't think you got it right." And so just the way that man worked, you know what I mean? It was just like he was just down to do any project. And then like even in his later years, he was doing a lot of independent films.
Yeah,
and just talking with him, when he was on Star Trek, and some of our favorite films, such as Candyman and many more, so
Final Destination, Hatchet, like
that's nuts.
The list goes on.
Yeah. So to lose someone like Tony, it was just like really heartbreaking, because it was just like, I didn't even want to believe it. I didn't even think it was true, because at first when my wife had told me, I was just like, what? Because I was like laying down on the couch sleeping, and then so she's like, Tony Todd passed away. And I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
I had texted you, and I had told you would just get out of a movie.
Yeah. That just threw me totally off guard. I was responding to something else that you had said. Yeah. And then you said that. I had to like process that. And I'll be honest with you, that really messed me up. Like the next day, I was like, I could not stop thinking about it. There's just something about it that really does hit home. And I think that like one of the things I remember you saying a while back was just like his voice is just so like, I don't know, if you're a fan of these movies, if you're a fan of Candyman and Tony Todd in general, like his voice just sticks out to you, because that's like it's just so prominent and so unique. And it's like, it's like if you hear Vincent Price, there's no denying whose voice that is, right? And that's the way Tony Todd is. And like for our generation that grew up like in Candyman, during that time when Candyman came out and have seen that movie 1,000 times and the sequels, it's like he feels familiar. And then like, us getting to chat with him and him just being so like such a down to earth guy. And I know so many people have been sharing their interactions with him or their experiences meeting him, and everybody says the same thing. He's just a nice, kind, generous person who's just like down to earth, and just like it's like the thing they always say, you don't want to meet your heroes. I think he's kind of the contrary to that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because that's definitely, I think for two icons that are from the horror genre, I would definitely have to give it to number one, to Tony Todd, and number two is Kane Hodder. You know what I mean? Just meeting those two guys, like meeting Candyman at so many conventions over the years, Tony Todd over the years, and just the experience of meeting him. He's just like, hey, what's going on? Or just like having any conversation. He treats you just like a normal person, checking in and stuff like that, like how you doing. and just making the experience easier. And so same thing with Kane. And so those two definitely stand out to me of, horror icon legends that I have met over the years. And
Yeah.
so like I said, like this one hurt because like we had him on the podcast and we were talking about films, but then like you said, it just got into like so many other things in life.
Yeah.
Like the clip that we reposted about just like the basketball game, just say good game. There's so many haters out here, what I mean? Just be a good person, what I mean? And then just the conversations of fishing and just all that stuff, man. Like normally I really don't like to re-listen to like episodes unless I'm like editing them or like, putting the videos together and shit like that. But like after that, man, I had to go back and like listen to this interview because it was just like he was just dropping so many gems, and then it was just
Yeah.
like, damn, man, like this shit can't be real. And then like having followers hit us up, and then just kind of like, damn, like he lived here, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so just having that experience too, and just talking about it, like living in Providence for 5.5 years and grinding, kind of just like us, eating,
Yeah.
like because we always tell people from out of town or whatever, when you come down, get the Oneyville hot wieners.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he knew about it, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? He
Yeah.
experienced that. He grew up in Connecticut, you know what I mean? So not too far from us. So, but
Yeah. It's Hartford, right?
yeah.
So yeah, big loss to the community. Tony
Mm,
Todd will be remembered forever. I mean, we have over 100 film and TV credits to remember him for. So like
yeah.
no shortage of work to be able to reflect on, but what a legacy. And yeah, he will be missed. A life ended too soon. But
And I definitely want to try to keep his spirit alive for doing something in Providence. You know what I mean? Like he spent
Yep.
5.5 years here, lived here. You know what I mean? So I want to kind of get some plans together of something that we were supposed to do with him. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like if a lot of people listen, like we said at the end of the episode, we were kind of like reflecting on like fishing. That was one of his favorite things that he ever did. And when we cut off air, we were planning, we were gonna put something together for like fishing with kids that weren't able to afford fishing rods and like bait or anything, or just have that experience. And I would really love for anyone in the community that wants to be a part of this to help us do this. I think that we should definitely get that going.
Yeah.
Because that
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
like even like so many times like it would just like haunt my head like in my mind like shit, we got to do this, like what's going on, you know what I mean? And then it was
Yeah.
just like to that point when I heard that he passed, I'm like, what the fuck, man, like we were supposed to do this, but we're gonna do it. We're
Yeah.
gonna make it
It's
happen.
never too late. I think he would want it to continue, and he
Yeah.
would probably want us to take the reins on it anyway. So
Mhm.
what better way to make that happen? So yeah, if people are interested in being a part of this, we're gonna, make this happen and hopefully get the blessing of the family and see where we can go from there.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, Tony Todd, rest in peace, my dude. Rest in peace. So I one last thing. How cool must it be for like indie filmmakers who got to work with him to be able to reflect on that in the future? Like that's what an
Yeah.
honor. Like if you're an indie, because we had like a few actually on here that got to work with him. And yeah, that's something that they'll probably be able to look at back at forever and be like, wow, that was really cool that I had Tony Todd in my freaking film. So
Yep. Or just for even for us having him on our podcast.
I mean, we were, that was like, I know that, I wrote a message on one of the clips that I posted. That was like our first like real icon that we had talked to on here. And I remember we were so nervous, and I shared it with my whole family, and they're like, oh, I could tell you were nervous. You guys pulled it together after a little bit, but that beginning was rough. Oh man, we were stumbling, and there was pauses everywhere. But man, that I wouldn't change it for the world though. That was like that was such a great experience.
And he was a Lakers fan. Take that, Dave.
I know.
And we won the championship that year too.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yep.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, I know not an easy transition, but let's get into some of the films, because as we mentioned, we have been kind of like kicking ourselves that we fell so far behind on getting to some of the, the big theater releases this year and kind of giving our thoughts about some of them. So we're going to do a recap on a lot of those, and we're going to actually start all the way back to A Quiet Place day one, because that's how far back we're going. This is basically the whole summer.
Summer madness.
It was a wild summer for films.
Oh, it definitely was.
I mean, we said this even going into the summer, but like obviously January and February of this year started off really, really weak and then picked up. And leading into the summer, then like we got A Quiet Place day one, which I actually don't know too much where you landed on this one.
Shit. I think I gave that like a 3 out of 5. I like the other two films better. You know what I mean? Because it was a cool prequel, and I would, for me, I thought they should have just gone right into 3, because the second one just ended with so much chaos going on. You know what I mean? And it's just like, why move away from that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless I already know, but it's like you see some of the characters from the second one in the prequel. So it's what's getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
Kind of go back to introduce those characters. But I had fun with it. You know what I mean? We were able to promote that with.
Is that the word you would use, though?
What?
Is that the word fun? Would you say this was a fun film to watch?
I have. See, hold on here. Here we go here. So I have to change my rating system. You know what I mean? That's my nice system. You know what I mean? Because we promoted the film.
I know there's people out there that also fall into this they also maybe are affiliated somehow or have some promotional tie-in, and like they just don't rate the film.
No. Yeah.
And that always, I'm like, I guess that's kind of what we got to do sometimes. I don't disagree with your rating. I actually that's not what I'm saying at all. I think 3.5 was fine.
Yeah, it was, and that's what I'm saying. Like 3.5 to me is good, but I had a lot of people who hit me up. Keith, aka Vision, Funeral Vision. You know what I mean? He says my rating system's a little off sometimes, but I can understand that. But look, we promoted the film. I was able to go with my daughter. Fucking seen it on IMAX. So when I see films on IMAX, that
changes,
throws in a whole nother level to it. Yep. You know what I mean? And so overall, I like the franchise. You know what I mean? And so good actors in the film. Had a good time. I'm not gonna shit on the film. The film wasn't like terrible.
No, I actually, I'm just busting your chops. I enjoyed it. I just don't think it was fun. If you get what I'm saying, like there was some parts in it that I was like, ugh, like, I don't know. Some of like the dynamic between the two, I could have done with less. Like it just, I don't know. I didn't feel chemistry with them. It felt a little forced, like that he was like so like up her ass the whole time, and he drove me a little nuts with some of like there was always like those stupid moments that they make a poor choice, then you gotta like watch someone get saved, and a lot of that stuff. Overall, like you said, I like the franchise. I like the creatures. The second one had way too much CGI, so I think this one, even though it had CGI, it wasn't as like bad as the second one at points. And yeah, I mean, I'm down for watching A Quiet Place movie. I do. It's a interesting experience at the theater because everybody's obviously so quiet, and like, that makes it a little bit different. But yeah, I don't think I had fun. It was like
fun. You didn't have fun. All right, I mean, it is what it is. Don't put me on a chopping block because
sorry, Brandon.
Throwing out little words here and there. Sometimes it's on the.
It was a little stressful at times. It was like
I don't feel that. I don't feel that. You know what I mean? I don't have that feeling at times.
She was very sick, so like I wasn't having fun watching her go to her stuff. That was the thing. It was like also she probably would have just passed away.
Yeah,
but in real life, like way before the end, like she would just been done.
See, the thing is, certain films they don't make me feel that certain way. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like just because there's like a chase scene going on, like the next film I'm going to talk about, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't fucking change my mindset of films. I think it has to be like something like really fucking crazy. I don't know, like
to get you on like the edge of your seat.
Yeah, it's not many films get me like that though. So who knows?
There's at least one on this list that did. I'll share that in a little bit. So the next one is Maxine.
Okay. Yep.
And we both landed at, I want to say
3.5.
Yeah, we both landed at 3.5 on this one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I think that overall, I think for the trilogy, I think it's the weakest one. Yeah, I mean, for me, on my end.
Yep.
So, no matter what, I think X definitely is number one. That was a movie I had fun with right there.
Yeah, that's a fun movie, I guess.
You have fun with X?
Yeah, I would say that's a fun one. It's definitely more fun than Pearl.
Oh yeah, Pearl.
Which is also a film I like, but yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. But I feel as though this one just kind of lacked a lot of
it was very mismarketed.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, like, I think we went in there thinking we're going to see a horror film, and and then it turns out to be a giallo thriller.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that if that's what you thought you were going into. But like, I think some people went into that feeling very betrayed, because it's like, this is not what I thought I was going to see. And once you kind of get over like that it's not what you're expecting, I think you can enjoy the film if you're even into giallos and this style of movie. I did enjoy it. I thought it had a lot of like messages behind it that I think Ti West was trying to get across, and even like maybe even process some of his own feelings about Hollywood, straying from the genre, coming back to the genre. I love the chase scene is so ridiculous. Like the Kevin Bacon character is so ridiculous, but the chase scene, like she runs into the Bates house. Like that's his return. He's like in Hollywood, but then he returns to horror. Like what better way to show that than his character's running through the set of all these Hollywood sets and then runs into the Bates house. Like I think that it was a lot of like his him kind of like showing kind of like his journey in some ways.
Yeah. No, and I'm a big Ti West fan all the way back from House of the Devil. You know what I mean? And so I think that films like that, that's his original shit is just so good to me. And I think
the Innkeepers,
like, I feel as though that like this shit commercially for him is a different tone. You know what I mean? I think for him he's blown up so quick. And then we kind of like talked about it. We had guests on that were close with him, and that time when he took a break and he was gone for so many years. Like, you know what I mean? Even when he did X, it's kind of like, is this really a project that he wanted to do, or is this a film that the studio said, hey, this is what we want from you now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's why I have to kind of look at his career now and kind of like get that idea, like, okay, like what's going on here? Because he's not that type of person that comes out and talks a lot, you know? Right. So it's
I do think it's pretty cool. The trilogy spans all these different subgenres. So we have the slasher, like a slasher with X. We have kind of like this elevated drama horror, psychological horror with Pearl, and then we get this giallo thriller with Maxine. So I think it's, if you like look at the project as a whole, I think it's like a cool thing that he created.
Yeah, definitely.
But like, there's no way every single horror fan is going to be into all three of those films. They're just so different. There's no
That's
way.
good. You know, I think that because like, I'll be honest too, like Pearl is not for me. You know what I mean? So it's not like, I think that like artistically, the way that the film was made, I thought it was really cool. You know what I mean? So, but overall, it was nothing that just like grabbed me and like, oh my God, this movie's like so great. Like, you know what I mean? Like that, I never got that from that film. And that's why I always say like X is, you know, really cool. But like for me, Maxine takes a third spot because, like you said, I expected a little bit more than that.
Yeah. I was actually, so I went to the theater. I saw like a later viewing of this. I went alone and I was like squished between some couples and it was pretty full. And I was like, the whole time I'm watching this, I'm like, these people are probably, and it was like people I know that are casual horror fans, like younger couples that, you know, probably like, oh, I want to see a scary movie. I was like, oh man, these guys have no idea. Like, this is not what they signed up for. But I didn't hear any grumblings, which, you know, sometimes you will as you're leaving. So I guess everybody
It started off really slow.
It did. It did. Way too slow. And I think that kind of like was what like told you like this isn't what I was expecting.
Yeah. And then like that was another thing too. I gave, like I said, I gave it a 3.5, and then I was just like, really, a 3.5? I'm just like,
and it is funny though when you look back like way later too at films, and you're like, I gave that, and like you almost start to question it sometimes.
No, but here's my thing. So if I give something like a high rating, because usually I'm sitting in a theater with the credits going, and I'll log it in on Letterboxd. You know what I mean? So everybody follow us on Letterboxd. I'm B James 401. You want to throw yours?
I'm trying to remember what mine is. I think it's De La Zot, but I could be wrong.
Nah. Well, definitely follow us on Letterboxd, you know, so I can hear some more people complain about my scores. But yeah, I would put it up there, and then like definitely like the day after or 2 days after, I can sit there and say, you know what, this film was like a 3.5.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or this is, if I give it like a 4, I'll be like, oh, this is a 3.5. But I think it's just in that moment, like after you process everything and then go home and then really think about it, and you're just like, okay, yeah, like, nah, I can change that up. But yeah, so definitely.
De La Zot 82, if you want to follow me on Letterboxd. And I have actually been doing it lately too. So I've been on
it's
top
fun.
of it.
It's fun because that's the thing. It's like, I understand when people sit there and they make comments about my score, because I can sit there and see someone's comments, like their scores for a person that hates a lot of films. And then when I see them rate something that's like garbage with a high score, and I'm just kind of like, oh yeah, that's what we doing here. And then it's just like, I just leave it, but I don't say nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, it is interesting because you do get to see some people just have very different like styles that they like over other ones. Speaking of a movie that was pretty divisive as far as like who enjoyed it, who didn't, Longlegs, I think, had pretty clear divide as far as like whether people liked it or not. Some people loved it, some people absolutely hated it from things I've heard.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was just like, when I first watched it, that was a movie in the theater. The theater was packed, so the experience is another key point. You know what I mean? So for having a packed theater, like, just understand, like, for us, we don't really get too many theaters that are like full. You know what I mean? And so now this is a packed theater. You can hear everyone kind of like gripping, like every comment, like, oh my God, oh, you know what I mean? I think that is another level for me. And then so I kind of gave that a high score, but then it was just like I was able to sit on it. I'd seen it 3 times in a theater, and then I was able to sit on it, and it was just like, all right, well, there's some key things here that were just kind of like all over the place, and my score went down. You know what I mean?
So what'd you settle on? 3.5?
No.
Oh no. You were originally like,
I think I was
real
like
high. You were 4.5. No, you were
5. I went down to like 4.
Okay.
Because it was the experience, and I think because here's the thing for me for Longlegs, the whole setup is I had gone into it, and Nicolas Cage had an interview, and he was kind of like talking about just growing up with his mother, and she had mental illness, so he was able to take everything that he had seen her do and everything and put that into this character. So for me to kind of hear something like that and then like work in this field, and it was just like, dude, like, that's so creative. Like, you know what I mean? For Nicolas Cage, for where he is, you know what I mean? And this isn't no shot at it, but I think that role right there like kills Mandy or anything else that he's been doing. You know what I mean? Because it puts it up at another level. It's just like to see him get back to where he used to be. Huh?
Wow, are you trying to get us canceled?
What?
Mandy? People freaking love Mandy.
I'm not hating on Mandy.
People are outside your house right now.
What are you talking
with
about?
Torches.
So you're telling me that his acting skills in fucking Longlegs wasn't better than it was in Mandy? What the fuck did you do in Mandy?
He had that moment where he stares at the screen with a crazy look on his face.
Okay. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now?
I do.
I'm talking about acting wise.
I understand what you're saying.
Like putting shit together. I'm saying like Mandy's a fun movie. I enjoyed Mandy.
Well,
I'm not saying that
No, here's what I will say though. I think and nothing against Longlegs, but just the thing that was impressive about Mandy is what he could get across without words. Like it was all body language, all facial expressions. I think that was kind of impressive. This one, bonkers, but like contained and gets like he creates this character that just like feels so distant than anything we've ever seen from him. And like to the point where if we didn't know that was Nicolas Cage, there's no way you would know that's Nicolas Cage. So yeah. People love Mandy though. I'm
not shitting on Mandy at all. I'm just saying his performance.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? His performance wise as an actor. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like certain keys, I don't know. And then it was like funny. I was able to sit there and watch. Like I seen that movie, like I said, 3 times in the theater. First time me and X went to go see it. And then the second time it took Ava. And I thought it would be funny. It was like a joke because her birthday falls on one of the dates. Like, you know what I mean? So she's like, why are you taking me here to see this? So it was just like so funny. I was just like, Longlegs is coming for you. You know what I mean? So it was just like
that's a pretty elaborate prank. You made her sit through it.
Yeah.
What is it? Because like I don't picture her liking that one.
She didn't like it.
No,
she didn't like it. She was just creeped out because it's like, you know what I mean? There's certain shit, man. It's like with certain films that could like truly happen. You know what I mean? Like this can definitely happen. Like, you know what I
mean? The thing with Longlegs is I felt like, and so many people disagree with me on this, but I'm gonna continue with it. To me, it felt like the perfect blend of Silence of the Lambs meets Psycho. Like you could see Oz Perkins' dad's influence in his filmmaking, and you could also see like that inspiration from films like Silence of the Lambs. And I felt like it was a blend because it was bizarre, but it was also like super creepy, effective, like cop movie. I did hear a really funny statement from someone who was telling me how much they didn't like Longlegs, and they said like the cop's character, they're like, I couldn't stand watching this cop who had like zero personality and felt like I'm not going to say what they said because it's sort of offensive now I think about it, but like they were just like
the female,
they couldn't stand how they felt like she had like zero personality. And I mean I get that it was super dry. I think it was intentionally dry. I feel like that's sort of his style in some ways. Like she's like very flat affect most of the time, but
that's what was supposed to be done.
Yeah, no, I get it. And but they were saying how like they couldn't watch that character, and I'm like, I get it.
She was at the end. The doll had the, you know, with the little chrome ball.
Yeah. Yep.
And then as soon as it was, you know, destroyed, everything started to come clear to her. You know what I mean? So it's like, so she had the clouded head of everything that was going on. Like, you know what I mean? It was purposely done. So
yeah.
See, over his head.
Well, I get it because like you are having to watch like a 2 and however long that movie was, hour movie of what that character being on the screen most of the time. But you gotta, it's part of the story. And
I think it worked.
Yeah, I thought it was effective. I rated it 4.5. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I dropped it down. It went to 4.5, 4.5. Yeah, it was at 5. So yeah, 4.5.
You were just very excited.
Had a good time. It was fun.
It was a fun movie.
Fun. So the next film.
Speaking of fun.
Yeah, this movie was fucking crazy.
Yeah, another one like really enjoyed it. Again, not like a fun experience because it was kind of grueling to watch actually, but I really couldn't stop thinking about this one.
But it was fun though.
It was a fun time.
Because we were able to promote it for Showcase Cinemas, and we had an early special screening. So
yes,
we were able to invite a lot of people. You know, shout out to everybody that came out to that event. It was a good time. So if you would love to see, you know, early screeners like that or something like that, definitely continue. Whenever we have events like that, please come, you know, because that helps us generate the buzz of, you know, Showcase Cinemas to sit there and say, okay, fine, these guys brought in like some good people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
If people don't come, they're not going to be interested in doing these. But the film was Strange Darling,
Yep.
and amazing performances. This was like one of the strongest like acting performances that I can say that I've seen. Well, actually, no, it's a year of like really strong female performances. And was it Willa Fitzgerald, the main woman? Her performance in this was just insane. Another level, like just amazing. I felt like she was so believable as this like character, and I'm not going to spoil anything. So like that's because that's the enjoyment of this film is where it goes, right?
Yeah, and
her and Kyle Gallner were awesome.
The way they set it up by chapters, you know, how they just skipped around and kind of like went back into it. I really enjoyed that. So
but at first it was pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie. Like until I caught on to what was happening. Like, did you like think?
I knew it was gonna do that because it was just like because it started off at like chapter what, like 7 or something,
like that. Yeah,
something
like 6 or 7.
So, and so I was like, all right, it's one of those movies. You know what I mean? So, I've seen a few movies like that before, and then like sometimes it's not done great, but like this, I think it definitely, you know, did really well. So I was impressed by that. Just everything, the color, the lighting, everything, the cinematography was just great, and how everything was put together. So I had a fun time.
I'm trying to see when I rated this. I might have forgot to rate this one.
I think you gave it a 3.5, Mr. Oh, this movie's so great.
You know, I actually no, that is genuine, because like that is what I felt in the theater after I watched it. And then it was one of those experiences where I think it went higher in my ranks as I reflected on it.
What did it go
I think I would probably I probably stayed 3.5, but it's very close to 4.
But it's a strong 3.5 though.
Very strong 3.5.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A 3.5 is not bad.
Yeah, yeah. I would actually probably keep it at 3.5.
Yeah, because I gave it the same thing too. But there was certain things that could have been better. You know what I mean? But overall,
I'm not gonna lie. Like the last like 30 to 45 minutes of that movie blew me away. Like without like the beginning was fine. The setup is good. But like the last half, like the last 30 to 45 minutes, I was like, wow. So people should watch it. People should definitely watch
3.5. Oh shit.
Okay.
What's the next?
Got a few next. So one I've seen. No, two of these
one.
I've only seen one out of these 3. So there's a reason they're all lumped together and they might not all make sense. So we got Trap, we got The Watchers, and we got Smile 2. Smile 2 being the most recent of these releases. The Watchers being the first one, and Trap was somewhere in the middle. We got 2 concert films and 2 Shyamalamian world films with his daughter doing The Watchers, and then M. Night having his daughter, one of his other daughters, star in Trap as he directs.
Yeah.
And makes a concert for her.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
We're going to start right here. Why don't you like to go to theaters on opening day, weekend?
I just don't. I just never make it. It just never works out that way. No, I
don't know, man. You miss a lot of movies, man.
Of course.
I don't know. We got to work on that for 2025.
Hey, this was a significantly better year for me than last year. So I haven't watched all of them, but I'm not too far behind, at least.
I don't know. See, this is why we're behind, because it's like we got to sit there and put these shits together, because I go opening weekend, opening night, and then it's like, hey, did you watch it yet? No, not yet. And then so we get put into the situation where we're thrown off, and I just wish that you would see these films in the theater and then get that experience, because let's see, Trapped.
I saw that in the theater.
You seen that in the theater?
Yeah.
I didn't know HBO Max was a theater.
I did not see it on HBO Max. I saw Trap a while ago. It's if you look back.
Hold on. I think you've seen Trap over some other movie too.
No,
like
nope. No, wrong. No, that was Blink Twice. I saw over.
Yes, because you didn't even see The Crow either.
No, and I really don't feel like I missed out.
No, you didn't. That was terrible. But I seen it on IMAX, so
Yep.
I gave it. I don't know what the fuck that I gave that thing. Probably 2.5. Fuck that
Yeah,
movie.
something like that.
It does not even get the fucking. Not even on this
So,
list.
so Trap was interesting because I think you had already kind of given me a heads up of where you landed on it.
Yeah.
And watching it, I was like, yeah, 100%. The first half of that movie, pretty enjoyable. It's
Yeah.
weird. Like M. Night does not understand how conversations sound between people. Like it makes you wonder if he talks to anyone ever. And he also loves that freaking close-up camera angle. Like an M. Night Shyamalan movie, but at this point, just by like some of the weird things he does, cinematography wise, I guess. Like he makes really interesting choices, but his dialogue is trash in this movie. With that being said, it is like somewhat enjoyable watching the main character, like Josh Hartnett, like watching him sweat the whole time, and you're like, how is he going to get out of this? What's going to happen? And then you get the second half of the film.
But this whole movie pissed me off because it was just like if it wasn't in a trailer that he was a killer, like just watching the film and watching it like unfold, I think it would have been a better experience. You know what I mean?
It's like
why give that?
That's like such an interesting choice because he's known for his twists, and like it could have been like the first time he gave a twist like within the first 20 minutes of a film. Like that would have been a new experience for all of us because the twists that come in this aren't even good, like interesting twists.
It's just like, okay, there, buddy. Like, here we go. I don't know.
I read something and someone's like, basically, he made this movie just to give his daughter a concert experience because he's trying to like help her singing career. And if so, then he's a great dad, and that's cool.
Well, I don't know. Was this like an original like screenplay, or was this like based off something? Because it's like we already had that experience of having someone on the show that book was, turned into a film from
I don't know,
him, and then it went a whole different way than it was supposed to.
Yeah.
So who knows? I don't know, but I think overall the film was decent because I had gone with my daughter, and it was like I was able to relate. But I wasn't a killer though. I would be able to take my daughter to like concerts and everything like that, and then have the situation of my daughter and her friends having falling outs and the parents trying to fix it. I understand that part, but it was just to the point where it was just like, I think when they got to the house, it was just like, why are we still in this theater? Why am I still here watching this? And why is this going on? And it was
like when is this gonna end? When is
and it didn't stop, and it just kept on coming. It was just like end of a movie when a slasher, you fucking shoot him, kill him, and it's just like keeps back up. It's like, why is this person still getting up?
And it's one thing to like make us extend our belief, like have something crazy happen and we have to like extend our belief a little bit, but like they made us do that so many times in that film. Like somehow Josh Hartnett's like getting a ride from this famous person in her limo, and then the next thing it's like all the things that they just kept making us like have to sit there and believe that this could ever possibly happen. It was just too much. By the end of the movie, you're like, just everybody just freaking die, like please, like just nobody needs to continue here.
And I wasn't satisfied with the ending either, so it was just kind of like, it's a throwaway. Like, and it could have been great, but
it really could have been a significantly better film.
Yeah.
So the other two I didn't get to check out. So we got The Watchers.
So The Watchers, like we talked about earlier, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter directed this film. You know what I mean? And for me, I had gone into it. I had caught this on the tail end of it, probably going out of theaters. Like, no, probably the third week, because I wasn't in a rush to see it, and so like the vibe and everything, I thought it had cool like the promo and everything was cool. We kind of talked about that. Like a lot of films had that, phone number or the website. Like there was a website you can click on and you can see like the the actors just sitting there and you're just watching them. And so I was like, oh, that's cool. But the film kind of lost me because it was just like, you know what, I'm watching this. I'm like, did M. Night Shyamalan make this or did his daughter make it? And it's like, you know what I mean? I love when like kids want to go like in their parents' footsteps, you know what I mean? But then it's just like to continue it and like make a film just like him. I was just
Yeah, you
like,
got to
damn,
find your own style. It's
yeah,
like we were talking about with Osgood, Oz Perkins. It's like,
yeah,
like obviously Anthony Perkins wasn't making the Psycho movies, but
hmm
like you could see the influence of his dad in his films, but
yeah,
it's still a very Oz Perkins film, right? Like he
yeah,
has his own unique style.
hmm And that was the thing. It was like there was everything M. Night Shyamalan, bit by bit, like you know what I mean, frame
Yeah.
by frame, how everything. You would just think that he made this film, and I'm not knocking his daughter, but I would love to see her like be her own self, you know what I mean, and go out there and then like if you want to take this to the next level, like you know what I mean, move away from your dad a little bit and kind
Yeah.
of have your own vision because you know what I mean, he already has that style set up, like you know what I mean, where we can get mad at films and be like, oh, here's a twist or this and that,
Mhm.
but I don't know, it was just I don't know, and it was too long. It could have been a lot been cut off on it. I wouldn't watch it again, but I thought it was like
It was
okay to
also
watch in
a
the theater.
Easter egg for the watchers in Trap. I don't know if you caught that, but there's a scene where they're driving through the city or somebody's in the city and they show like an overview and you see the watchers poster or billboard somewhere in the city.
Mm.
It was at the beginning of the film actually when they're going to the concert. So I
Oh,
thought that
okay.
was kind of cool.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Hmm.
Little things. He's known for like that's what I used to love about his films when we're talking about like Sixth Sense and all the like those earlier films. He was just so intentional with every shot. Every color
hmm
had a meaning, everything in the background had a meaning. And I just, I don't know that we're getting those same
But
types of
that's the
films.
thing, man. It's like once you do something so for a long time, you get bored. So like, is he just bored?
Yeah.
I think so.
His
Like, you know what I mean?
priorities have probably changed, I would say.
Yeah. So I think overall for him, Trap was probably just a fun film that he was able, like, you know what I mean? I think overall as a father to do anything with your kids or see your kids do anything,
Yeah.
like I'm not knocking anything that they're doing or whatever's going on. You know what I mean? Like just kind of just like the same situation with like LeBron and Bronny James, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. Like, you know what I mean? You guys are playing basketball together and shit like
Yeah.
that. Like sometimes you just gotta step back and just like appreciate certain shit, like when things happen and like how it happens because it's like as a dad, you know what I mean? I just want the best for my kids too, you know? So
Yep.
I
Yep.
think that overall he's doing a good job. So not to shit on his films or his kids' films or anything like that. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah, it is what
Yeah.
it is.
So that brings us to another concert film.
Yeah.
And this
So
is a very recent release. We got Smile 2.
Smile too. So, I had gone like we were big fans of the first one. You know what I
Yep.
mean? We were able to
Yep.
dissect that film, kind of break it down. Where we did the Psych 101 episode.
Mhm.
Um, and I went into this film thinking like, all right, because we went into the first one thinking like, are we gonna like this film?
Yeah, no expectations on that one.
And we end up walking out like really enjoying it. I forgot what I gave that for a rating, but it was up there. And so going into the second one, the film starts off really, really strong, really strong. It continues from the last film, but there's a lot of holes in this film. You know what I mean? And for me to not really enjoy it, I gave this probably like a 2.5 because, and trust me, it could be it could be a 3.5, but I just didn't like how everything was set up for it to like, fall together. Coming in from the first one, you're given like all the details of how and why this is happening.
Yeah.
I think this one, I don't even know how, in the first one, how long did we figure, like everything was happening before she found out, like was given the information?
I feel like it was that apartment scene,
Mm,
right? With her and the cop. And that was like not even halfway, I would say, right?
yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, and then they go to he takes her to the prison,
Yeah.
and then the prisoner kind of explains a little bit more in detail. But before that, they had gone, I think before or after, they had gone to like the woman's house and she was interviewing, like, she was talking about how her husband was acting and stuff
Hmm.
like that. This one is just so fucking weird, man. It's just like this fucking random guy. It's just
Yeah.
like you know what I mean, not to give spoilers or anything, but it was just like, hey, you gotta kill yourself before this. Like, you know what I mean? And so it was just like half, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a full
Maybe
setup. And
like
so
last minute they were like, "Oh shit, we forgot to have someone come in and explain. Let's get this guy to do it." Let's
yeah, and it was
like
like
throw it in.
weird. It was weird. And then so it's like overall, the main character, the actress, great job. The whole setup of everything, the film could have been like so good. It could have been better than the first one because of the time and effort that they put in everything else. Um, and for it to fall flat in certain cases, because even when I gave it a 2.5, people would hit me up and say, "Wow, you gave it a low rating," and I'm like, "Yeah, because I held this film to a standard because the first one I enjoyed it so much, and then when I explained it to people, that just like." Oh yeah, but I kind of just like left it alone because even with all the holes and everything, I had fun and everything like that. Like, trust me, yeah, I have fun with it too. I seen it 2 times, but I still can't get over the holes from it being a sequel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's just me. But like I said, it can be a 3.5, but it's a 2.5 because of how everything takes place. Like, you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
has to like continue and kind of like mesh together, and it didn't for me.
Yep.
So
So all right, that's mile two. Okay, we got Blink Twice.
I was shocked by this.
You were shocked by this.
I was shocked by this.
You were shocked by how much you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Huh.
You didn't like it?
I thought it was decent. Strong acting performances. A little heavy on like the obvious men are horrible people and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like that message kind of was like, all right. I was kind of hoping maybe there would be a different twist of what was going on because like that was just very
Yeah.
obvious, but I get it. We suck. So
No, and for
rich
me, when
rich
I say,
dudes are the worst, of course.
yeah, like for me, I was shocked because this was Zoe Kravitz's first feature film. You know what I mean? And so I was just kind of like, all right, wait a minute. Like how everything was put together, I was just like, all right. I thought it was going to be worse than what it was. You know what I mean? I had
Hmm.
no expectations for the film at all. And so I was just like, wow, this was a great, first introduction to films. You know what I mean? Like she's a great actress, she's done a few films and her and
Yeah.
Tatum, they're together,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Channing
Yep.
Tatum. All
Yep.
right. I didn't know that until
That
like after this
main
film.
I didn't either. I actually saw it in like an interview or something after. That main
Mm,
actress was so good in this, though. She was like
yeah.
really strong performance.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, 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 good performance. I had the kid from Sixth Sense, which
Sixth
was
Sense.
funny.
Yeah.
Seeing him as an adult now, and there was like, it was kind of funny. There was the one, I don't know. So we don't want to give spoilers, so I guess I'll leave this out.
Mm,
There's this one character that doesn't have like who also has things happen to him, and they kind of also target him as well.
yeah.
And then you know what I mean? And I thought that was an interesting choice because I was like, he's also part of this, but then they kind of said like you're complacent by not if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem, I guess was kind of there. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was heavy on the message. Um
Yeah. And it
it,
dropped around like the right time too, with all that shit
yeah,
going on with
I
your
know,
boy
I know.
Diddy.
Yeah, exactly. Um yeah, I just it for me, I just kind of was hoping it was going to be something a little different and it wasn't. But other than that, the movie was good, it was decent. It was a very interesting twist and
Yeah.
the way that they kind of explained them that they were doing things was interesting. It
Yeah.
definitely was disorienting at some parts. You're like, what the hell is going on? Like, yeah, it was hard to figure out. And then when you get it, you're like, oh, all right. And the return of Gina Davis, haven't seen her in a long time.
Mm. Yeah.
That
I'm
was kind of
surprised she
interesting.
wasn't in Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yep. Yep.
So crazy. But yeah, it was a good watch. You know what I mean? I guess I was shocked for like
I
how
also was a little when I was watching this, I wanted to be an alien. but I went to go see this to compromise, and so I was pouting a little bit. So I think that kind of like also filtered the way I was viewing this. I was like, this sucks compared to Alien. Alien's probably awesome. And then I saw Alien, and I had it was all right to me. I know you liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Alien Romulus.
See,
that's because your middle name is Romulus, so that you just like automatically liked it.
Nah, see, so like for me, Romulus, I came in strong with it. You know what I mean? I gave it a 5 because I first seen this film opening day in X Plus. The experiences of those films, or when you're on X Plus, you have the bigger screen and the audio is just fucking nuts. So it just makes you feel like you're a part of the screen, and that's why I say all the time, like when I see Nope on IMAX, like that part where the alien was sucking everything up,
Yeah,
and then you're in that, like legit, I was felt like I was in that shit.
mm-hmm.
And then when I seen it on the regular like theater screen, it didn't give you that same effect.
Yeah.
And so I was able to see Alien Romulus on X Plus, and I seen it in IMAX. And the experience for those films, man, I wish that people would just kind of go and watch those films on those like platforms, like you know what I mean, because you can't get that same experience from a regular small theater. And that's the thing. It's like, dude, when we go to like if you go to a different state or anything else, like some theaters really don't have like big screens. You know what I mean? They have those
No. I went to see In a Violent Nature
yeah.
in like upstate New York, and some random theater there, and the theater was shit. It was like the
Was
screen
it
was
like
horrible.
Patriot Place? Right?
It wasn't Patriot Place. I can't
No,
remember
but I'm
what.
saying it
Oh
was
yeah.
the
It was like
quality, the small
exactly.
screen, and that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
seen Nope on a screen like that, and it was just like it doesn't hit the same. So I'm saying that like if you go and you watch those films on IMAX and X Plus, it's a different experience, and so it's like you're gonna add more points to it, and you're just gonna feel the experience is better. So like you kind of said it earlier, like feeling a certain way of a film, like those theaters give you that experience. You know what I mean?
So did you see Alien Romulus twice in two different types of theaters?
Yeah, I seen an X Plus and IMAX.
Oh, you saw both in like big.
Yeah, and I didn't watch it on anything else.
Yeah.
Can't watch that. You can't watch that in any other.
So here's my thing with Alien Romulus. I'm a big fan of this like the tie-in with Prometheus, that idea of like the creation and then like Covenant. While I know it's not like a great film, I like that it tied into that a little bit. They gave more of that story. And then this one was more just like action based and less, it felt like it strayed from that storyline with that like creation type thing. And I really just like that storyline. So for me, like it's a good film. Just like I would have loved for it to also have a little bit more of that tie-in. Because I just want to know how man started, you know? I'm just curious.
But it didn't go from there. It was in the middle of the first and the second film.
I get it, Brandon. I'm just explaining what I like.
Yeah, I understand that, but you're trying to pull something away from other films.
No, I'm explaining why I think I liked some of the other Alien films over this one.
Yeah, but those came later, so that's why, like, for me, I enjoyed it because it kind of like brought you back to the first two films. And so after watching this, I had gone home and I rewatched all the films, and I was just like, all right, cool. And then it was just like was able to kind of like put everything together, and it was just like, all right, cool. Well, and like even like Aliens, like that movie was just fucking nuts. Like that was fun. But I understand what you're saying. But I think that, you know, a lot of people kind of get wrapped up into that point where it's just like they give it a low rating because they feel like a lot is being kind of like done and it's things are being missed. And it's like for Fede Alvarez, I think he did a great job. And I think no matter what, when you step into franchises like this, you're never going to satisfy anyone. You know what I mean?
Set design's awesome. Like seeing the old school, like that blend of like old, but like with like the sci-fi stuff. Like it was very cool set design. yeah, some of the characters like you don't really care for, so when things happen to them, you don't mind. So that was nice. Yeah, a lot of like flat characters though in current movies. A lot of like stoic flat characters in current movies these days. I'm just gonna say that this one had some too.
That's all right. I had a good time. So, like I said before, yeah, I went in high on that from the experience, but it definitely went down to like a 4.5. Would you get it?
I think 3.5.
Strong 3.5?
Yeah, pretty strong 3.5. Pretty strong.
See, that's the thing. I can't hate because it's like I understand. It's like certain shit just makes you
Yeah.
go with a strong 3.5.
And honestly, for me, a big indicator of how much I like really like a movie is how much I think about it afterwards. I always say that. It's like I really look for films that like don't leave my mind, and that one kind of left my mind. So that was for me, I feel like okay with my 3.5. I'm
Yeah,
not
but
like
next time,
should I go back?
next
I know I
time,
should have gone to a bigger screen for sure.
IMAX, X Plus. You can't watch those on regular film screens.
Yeah. Here
Like,
was my a big surprise for me, this next film.
mm,
I don't know if you agree with this, but I actually enjoyed Speak No Evil quite a bit.
I did. I enjoyed it, but did you watch the original yet?
Nope.
See, so that's the thing. Like the original is streaming on Shudder,
Mhm.
so that was a big issue with a lot of people, and even myself. It was just like, why is this film being remade when it's only been out for 2 years? You know what I mean? And then after like going into it and
Oh,
watching this film, I'm like,
is there an original too? Is there one from like the 70s or no?
no,
Am
this
I
is just
dreaming?
from, yeah, no, that's from it's probably something else, but like this is a remake from the film in
Foreign?
2000. Yeah. So then it
Gotcha.
was like,
They gave it a the American remake.
yeah, it was the American remake, and so that's why, you know,
Was this, let me ask you this question. Because like I'm not usually a fan when they do that. Like we've
yeah,
seen like when they did Martyrs, when they did Inside, all that stuff, and no thank you.
same.
But James McAvoy
Oh no, yeah,
like nails this role, I feel
yeah,
like,
he
right?
does. Yeah,
So would you say that this remake of like this Americanized remake actually kind of does maybe something positive by having strong casting and strong performances?
it's hard because the story changes so much. You know what I mean? So like, so you look at the original where it's just like, dude, what the fuck? What the fuck are you doing? Wait a minute, dude, what are you doing? And then there's
Hmm.
this, it's like, oh, everybody, let's go. We all make it away.
Oh, the end. So
Yeah.
some changes. All right. Oh
Yeah, the
yeah, I'll
whole
have to.
thing
I'll
is,
have to watch that. Yeah.
and so it's like everybody gets a trophy instead of it's like fuck you is one winner. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So so that's what I'm saying. Like for you, like I'm surprised you never seen the original because
Yeah. I
it's
don't
right up your
think I have
fucking
at
alley.
least. I don't
And
think I
so
have.
it's
Yeah.
like it like but then that's the thing. When I had watched this one, I was just like, all right, well, I like this, I like that, I like this, and James McAvoy did kill that role. And it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like, damn, what if James McAvoy was in the original? He was that dad in the original film. That's what made me like kind of
Yeah.
like, oh shit, like what if he was that dude that did that shit?
Yeah. I actually will say the dad in this one too. The other dad
Yeah.
did a really good job. I think overall, I thought like all the casting choices they made were really strong,
Hmm.
which is not kind of what I expected. Yeah, walking like being blind, not knowing that other story. This was to me felt great. Like I was watching it thinking like, oh, this is like another version of Straw Dogs almost, or
Hmm.
like I don't know. There's so many different ones I could compare it to. But Straw Dogs also had a remake. Well, obviously, big time difference in between the two, um, but kind of unnecessary as well. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I don't take away anything from this one. Like I said, like going into it and seeing the previews and everything is just like why? And then I'm like, okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, I can see why. You know what I mean? Because it's like
Yeah,
you can never play the original in the theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so it's like now you gravitate into a whole different audience.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, well, this is well done. It's a good story. Okay, this is safe, and we can reach different people. You know what I mean? And then the psychopaths and everything, horror fans, you can go to Shudder and watch the original.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely check out both films. I would recommend. What did you give that?
I think I gave it a 3.5 as well.
Strong 3.5.
I mean, it's not a 4. It's definitely not a 4, but it's to me it was a little bit more than a 3.
Yeah, that's safe.
Yeah. All right. So we are going long. This is a long list of movies that we have to catch up on. So what we are going to do is we're going to wrap up here after this Speak No Evil, brilliant film, 3.5, strong 3.5. And we are going to summarize the rest of our films on this list. We got like a great group to go here, some really strong ones. So we will summarize that in a part 2 of this episode. So stay tuned. We will capture all the rest of the films up to date. We promise. And then from there, we'll try to keep up to date, but no promises for that one, though.
I'm gonna get a nice shirt made. Take my strong 3.5. I don't have a strong 3.5. That's crazy.
Right. 3.5. That's like us. We're a 3.5 probably.
What is it?
We're a 3.5 probably. Joe is a 3.5, a strong 3.5.
Strong. I'm just taking that from the Take My Hand from Scary Movie. I don't know how to tell them people. Well, good night.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.
Peace. Take it easy.
Game over.